What's up, guys? Nate and Holly here from The Run Experience. We are here to talk about how to find your perfect half marathon pace strategy. We're going to get into some specific tips around negative versus positive pacing, how to dial that in, how to account for the different terrain, as well as how to mentally break down your race into different segments and what to expect in each of those pieces. Now, when it comes to developing our pacing strategy, one of the things we're really going after with pacing is really how to have a good performance, how to have the best performance that we could have on race day. That's when you might hear someone says, hey, you paced it perfectly on that day. And really what that means is that you've taken your fitness and you've done your best job to express that fitness on race day with that strong performance. But before we get into the specifics of that, it's good to know some of the different terms and terminology that's out there. Now, if you're that person that went out hard, I know that I've done that once or twice and paid for it on the back half. A lot of times that is called a positive split race, which means that you start fast, you're at that lower, mile time or kilometer per minute time. And then all of a sudden, the pace creeps up from that 8-minute mile to that 10-minute mile to that 12 to your Strava's on auto pause because you're moving so slow. I've been there on a hill. It's not fun. The other way is actually to negative split, which basically means that you were that person who started really patient, everyone else went fast, and you kind of stuck to your plan and stuck to your guns, and then you slowly, if ever so slightly, increase your pace so that actually you finished the race slightly faster than you began. Now, the negative splitting sounds amazing, and it sounds like, man, we should all do that. In reality, it doesn't really happen all that often. It's so hard. So what we want to do is to kind of have the reality split, which is actually going to account for the fact that we're probably going to go out a little faster than race pace that first few miles, but then we better have a plan to settle into the race pace we need to hit, and then plan to gut it out all the way to the finish.
Guys, Coach Holly here, just dropping in to say we've got an awesome way to train for free with us right at the end of this video, so stick around. Hope you're enjoying this one.
Now, in a minute, Holly's actually going to walk us through how we can break down those 13.1 miles so that we can get ourselves set up for success. But before we even go there, I just want to throw a few variables out there that are really important. Things like terrain. I was just talking to a friend the other day, and we were actually talking about the Boston Marathon, because when we filmed this, the Boston Marathon is about 5 weeks away. And it's one thing to kind of think about this nice even pace all the way across your race, but if you've got these big gnarly hills in the middle, you have to account for that. And if you don't count for that, that's going to throw your pace off or psychologically make you feel like you're all of a sudden off pace and you're slowed down and you're having to make some adjustments on the back end, which is no fun. So if you are on a race course that does have some hills, try to account for that in your pace. Know that maybe your pace is going to drop on those hills by 15 seconds a mile, 30 seconds a mile, depending on how steep it is. But know that on the back half, you'll be able to make up some of that time with some downhill running. My one caveat to that, you have to practice those higher speeds in your downhill running, and you have to be paced well into those hills so that you're not only 15 seconds a miles off, you're not 1 or 2 minutes a miles off. And guys, speaking of just half marathon tips in general, we've got some great things we're actually going to share with you at the end of this video, all about our half marathon training guide and how you can get access to some really good, helpful workouts and other injury prevention tips.
All right, guys, so we are going to break this half marathon down for you, get into the mileage and kind of looking at the race in maybe 3 chunks, because that's worked for both of us, and we've kind of thought about it a little bit more and how we can best translate that to you guys so you can think about it when you take on your next half marathon. So the first 3 miles, you definitely don't win the race in this first 3 miles, but you can definitely lose it here.
You're not winning.
You won't win here, but you can definitely lose, and you need to remember that. It's super easy to get caught up in the beginning and the excitement of the race, especially if this is your first or second half marathon. You're definitely going to have those nerves, running and everything, and the adrenaline is going. So remembering that you can set yourself back, even in a small chunk at the beginning there, it can totally mess up the rest of the race. So taking it easy here, being patient with yourself, knowing there's a lot more to it coming up next. Then we're going to go into that second chunk, which is the biggest, kind of looking at that middle 6. getting a feel for settling in here,
Yeah.
finding a pace that's like, this is an experience, it's something you signed up for, so there's a lot of factors that go in. You're gonna be here for a while, so finding...
You're gonna get your money's worth.
Exactly.
Of the race.
Exactly, it's right here in these 6 miles. So the course is changing, the views are changing, maybe you're listening to music, maybe you're not, whatever it is, there are things going on and you wanna experience that, so finding something that's gonna be sustainable for you for those 6 miles. The last 3, they're just gonna hurt. They're just gonna hurt like
hell. Painful.
And our best advice for that is to hang on and expect that from the beginning. Be pleasantly surprised if it doesn't totally suck, but the last 3 miles, just accept that.
And you signed up for it. I mean, you totally signed up for it. That's the craziest thing.
And at the end, you're done. So really just looking at it like that, this is just kind of the cap to it. You signed up for this, you trained for this, and remembering that the whole way through. So looking at it in those 3 chunks definitely helps mentally prepare and digest for it. I mean, things will come up along the way, of course. Also things to think about, stopping for bathroom, you know, if you're trying to go for a certain time, those things affect it. So if you can take that last bathroom break right before the start and avoid it altogether, this race distance, you can usually get away with not even having to stop.
What if you were to just like not drink at all days before, and that would guarantee that you
I
don't
hear that's
have to
great.
pee?
Yeah, that's how it works. You just
If you could see
just cut
Elizabeth's
off the
face
supply.
behind the camera right now, our nutritionist, she's just, you know,
mindful.
anyway.
It doesn't work that way, despite what you might think. But yeah, definitely just thinking about hydration and fueling before and during. These kinds of things can slow or speed you up as well. Half marathon, again, you know, it's a distance, it's challenging, but it's something that can be accomplished in kind of one foul swoop. So anything to add?
No, go for it, guys.
Guys, thanks for watching this video. For sticking with us to the end, we have an awesome half marathon training guide that we put together, a PDF file for you guys, tons of things to look at about getting into that training plan and how you're gonna start getting ready for that race and implementing what we talked about in this video. You can get that by clicking the link in the video, drop your name and email, we'll send that to you. Very easy to get, we'll send that right away. And if you liked this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you have a comment, question, request for future video, we always take those. We decide what goes on, so it really is up to you guys. Drop it in the comments. And lastly, subscribe to the channel. We have tons of new videos coming out all the time. Running, strength, nutrition, the list goes on. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I think that's all we have for you guys. We will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.